Grab it. Well, from that far hillside that I just showed you, Custer and his men spotted a Lakota and Cheyenne pony herd that was situated down here along the Little Bighorn River. They thought that the Lakota had seen them as well, was they decided to attack now rather than wait, because they figured the Indians would flee short thereafter. Instead, they didn't flee. They hadn't been seen. So when they rode up, they realized that they were grossly outnumbered. There's the creek bottom along the Little Bighorn River where the Lakota and the Cheyenne had kept their ponies. And you can see there's a green, lush pasture. I think those are some of the original Mustangs that got loose from Custer. Yep, that's the one he used to ride right there, that gray mare. And if you believe that, I got some oceanfront property here in Montana I'd like to sell you. Real nice in the wintertime. Okay, we were just over there on that horizon. That's where the pack train was arriving from, but the fighting was already taking place here, and that's 3 miles away. These guys here were overran by a couple of different warriors. That's why we have graves. If you go anywhere through this battlefield, you're going to find these graves just everywhere, dotted the landscape. As the Cheyenne and Lakota stormed this point, all of the soldiers, the ones that lived, obviously those men didn't, the ones that lived fell back. Their horses were stampeded. You're going to notice a couple of tombstones right here and a couple down through there. These men all retreated. The ones that made it to the top of that hill over there where you see the monument. And that's where Custer had his last stand. That'll be our next stop. There's the site of the last stand. There's a few graves scattered down the hill here. People trying to get away or get in the crowd, but this is where it took place at. This was the last of it in this particular battle. They buried them where they found them laying. And of course, that's where George Armstrong Custer lay. There's all the officers, soldiers from each unit. All 4 sides are covered. Okay, they buried them where they found them originally, but the officers were all dug up and reburied at West Point Cemetery. During the Civil War, Custer was a Union cavalry officer during the Civil War. Hundreds, 220 some odd stones where they found dead bodies. What's really striking is you'll see a little point sticking out into the prairie, and there will be 12, 15 stones all in a circle. And you know those men stood there and shot till they ran out of ammo or were struck by an arrow. Sometimes the accounts of the men that found their bodies said they had upwards of 20 arrows sticking in them, so they just kept shooting them. Their bodies were all mutilated as well. Beautiful country here. I just want to show you what's here. I'm no historian. I showed you where Custer saw him, his arrogance, his desire for bravery, and he was really just he wanted to be famous. So he charged into something that was way bigger than he ever anticipated. He expected his enemies to run. They didn't. He expected a small group. They were large. Then his supply chain got split up, and ultimately he died for making dumb mistakes, underestimating his enemy. But I'm showing it to you because I don't know how much longer these monuments will be around. You never know. Maybe this will offend somebody. I know the Native Americans wanted to take it down, or basically rewrite it back in the late 70s when I was a kid. I understand why they would be upset, but this is a battle they won. I think it should be commemorated. So, history's history. Learn from it. Don't try to rewrite it. Down at the bottom of the hill, there's a National Military Cemetery, and it's a very pretty cemetery. I think all military cemeteries are pretty. But I want to show this to you because who knows how long it'll be here. Real pretty. Just kind of drops over the hill. Just saw a guy on a walking trail. He's literally half a mile from anybody. He's in the Montana prairie and he's wearing a mask by himself. What's he gonna catch out there? I'll show you how dumb my government is. Because of COVID, they're blocking off every parking spot. I guess so the cars don't catch it. Well, these are handicap spots. There's literally 6 foot between each car anyways, and they still block off every other spot. Of the 4 handicap spots, you can only use 2 of them. How's that helping anything? You just made it harder for handicapped people to get out.